We'll open it up to the audience. This last question, Jeff already touched on it briefly. It has to do with gender. And I'll preface this by saying there is no right answer. Everybody has their theories and their points of view, but I figured since we're women advancing microfinance, I should ask at least one question to do with gender. So my question to the panelists is, what role does gender play in your operations and decision making? And what are some of the constraints you currently face in reaching greater numbers of women clients and attracting women staff members?
Actually, we have almost 40% of the staff are women. I have two deputies, one of them is woman. And maybe most of our IT staff women, I don't know why, but they're the most. Yeah, and the extension officers for the women products are 100% women. For this, and despite the fact that in Egypt we don't have this constraint, we don't have even, it's more equality, we don't have any regulatory or even religious reasons that can prevent. And we use it as well to have maybe more. Sometimes in some operations outside Alexandria, we face problem in getting women to work, especially for the women products. One of the situations that in one of our cities that actually more conservative, I didn't have any branch manager of man can operate there, and I cannot transfer one of the women 300 kilometers there. So we took a very hard decision. We get two staff to be married and handle both branches, SME and Blossoms, to handle. We promoted them to be managers there, so we try to keep them away. For our clients, until 1999, we had only one product which is directed to SMEs, and this average, it's almost from 10 to 15% of the borrowers are women. We got the group lending since 1999, and it's 100% women. Last year we got the intermediate product, which is almost hypothetically could be 30% men, but actually it's almost 7 to 8% men and 93% of women. So it's in total we have over 60% of our borrowing are women, but in value, because most of them are in group lending with small amounts, they have only 20% of our portfolio. However, when we try to celebrate our clients, we do an annual gathering that we get our clients, we celebrate best clients. We try to get the women being chosen. We try to nominate them for international or local prizes. We had last year the best innovative woman in the Arab area. It was the story. She started after her wife died in operation in the weight scaling, and she started to in a workshop, and she started to assemble these scales. And now she have up to 1 ton scale she produced in her workshop at almost 20% of the imported price, and she has her own trademark for the scales. We have a lot of stories like this, and we try to celebrate them because they are, yes, they live in different, and they don't have the equal chance totally. So the one who can do success, we celebrate them.
Well, as I mentioned earlier in my remarks, I got a little bit ahead of myself. We have about 75%, about 25% women borrowers, and I'm not sure if that percentage will change much. As I was saying earlier, it seems like many of the micro borrowers and the small borrowers or shop owners are men, but we are out marketing or promoting our services, our products and services to all potential borrowers, men and women. So that may change over time as we diversify our product offering as it is right now. With just the one product, it probably won't change much. In terms of the staff itself, we have about 25% of our staff are women. Unlike some other countries I worked in, we like in Russia, for instance, I had mostly women loan officers. In China, we have, at this point, we have 0. They're all men. But we do have 2 in training right now, 2 women loan officers that are currently in training. So we're hoping to add as women as well, loan officers. But we're finding that they often say it's difficult for them to go out into the field, out into the climatic conditions, and sometimes just difficult working with the men clients. But we're trying to work on that so we can have a mixture of loan officers to work with our clients. We do have CFO is a female, and our HR people are female, and a lot of the accountants and back office staff. So I think we have a fairly diversified group of staff, and of course, as we're growing, that will probably change as well.
So in our case, we work exclusively with women, so 100% of our borrower base are women, and we do this for 3 reasons. Many of you probably know this, but I'll just say it. One is from a social impact perspective. We know that if women have control of the profits, they'll get invested in the household and for their children. We also know that in any kind of group lending, women tend to cooperate better because you have to help each other out in times of difficulties or gently nudge, and men seem to not be able to do that very well, and women cooperate much better. And then third and finally, something that probably all the women in this audience know, women just tend to be better entrepreneurs than men. At least in rural areas, women are slightly more thoughtful in terms of the types of projects that they look at, and the success rate is higher. Now, this is not to say that men don't participate, but they do so through their wives. So they're either doing joint projects, or sometimes they're getting the cash from their wives, but the fact that the woman mediates the process actually makes the system work much better than if it was direct. And we find that from a social impact perspective, regardless of what's happening, whether she's using it exclusively or doing it jointly or handing it over, there's an empowerment that still nevertheless takes place. So whatever level in terms of the household she would have started, her self-respect and her confidence level certainly does increase, and there's a lot of data that will articulate this. In the staffing side, we've done less well. We have about 25% of our staff better at the management level, but abysmally poor at the field staff level. And this was mentioned by some of the others as well. Basically, our hours are 6 in the morning till 10 at night, although people do get the afternoons off. And for a woman, especially one who's of marriageable age, it is difficult for her because of the larger social patriarchy to go out early mornings and late night. And so we will try to continue to do something there, but there's a larger issue that needs to be addressed. That's the backdrop of this problem.
Excellent. Thank you.